Hello, virtuous thought leaders, scholars, and virtue change agents. My name is Dr. Lisa Marie Portugal, and I am the Leadership Architect. I'd like to welcome you today to another talk that I have prepared for you and in service to you and your goals. This talk comes out of one of my books called A Culture of Excellence: Virtuous Leadership Principles for Organizational Success, a Management System. And the cover slide is also the cover of the book, The Four Cardinal Virtues: Prudence, Justice, Fortitude, and Temperance. And here is my personal and professional brand and logo. I love virtuous leadership, as you know, if you've been following me. And of course, there are all of the virtues listed. Magnanimity, meaning the virtue of greatness that we can achieve if we virtue build within ourselves all of the other virtues as well. Don't you want to see virtue and virtue building within yourself, the power of greatness and magnanimity for ourselves, for our families, for our communities, our society, and our nation? I know I do. Okay, here is the table of contents, my about page. We will talk about objective truth versus relativism, gray areas in thinking, and then, of course, conclusion and references. And this particular talk is called American Culture and Relativism. Very interesting, right? Because America is plagued with subjectivity and relative thinking right now. So we'll see as I go through this if you can notice some of those things that are going on within our culture lately. All right, so as you know, I'm all about a shared culture of values and a culture of excellence. And as Christians, we can spread our traditions and our values and our principles to others within our sphere of influence to help them understand the power of virtue building. Okay, so let's talk about objective truth versus relativism. I like this graphic here. Objectivity is undistorted by emotion or personal bias, and it is based on observable phenomenon. So this is kind of an important talk today because, you know, we do see a lot of personal bias out there in our society, a lot of high emotions with people. And, you know, that is their subjectivity, their feelings. That's their bias. So when we see those types of experiences going on in others, we can understand that they lack the understanding of objective truth. And they follow more in line with relativism and subjectivity. So relativism has been fostered in the American culture for the last 100 years. This has led to a pervasive type of thinking in the culture, whereas everyone has their own morality based upon their personal subjective experiences rather than objective truth. In fact, objective truth has been completely removed from the public sphere as well as public education, both at the K-12 level and the university level. Objective truth is no longer taught as a guiding principle within the culture and has been replaced with relativism. This is why we hear many people making statements such as, quote, "What is right for you is right for you, and what is right for me is right for me," unquote. Or, quote, "We can agree to disagree," unquote. Or, quote, "I have my own truth," unquote. Statements like these reveal that many people have no understanding about objective truth or that their beliefs are based upon relativism. Gray areas in thinking. This is a nice graphic too. What's right and what's wrong? Are we losing sight of objective truth? So gray areas in thinking are a sign that 1, people do not understand objective truth. 2, people believe their personal experiences, feelings, perceptions, and subjectivity is truth. And 3, foundational training in traditional morality, ethics, and virtue is lacking. Furthermore, when subjectivity and relativism take precedent in a culture over objective truth, people tend to be guided by their natural inclination toward choosing vice over virtue and choosing self-gratification over building virtue. The reason why many people will say, quote, I have my own truth, unquote, or, quote, we can agree to disagree, unquote, is because they want to make a subjective choice and live a subjective life free of moral judgment and right choices. In addition, when people have lived a long life of relativity and subjectivity and lack zero education in objective truth, they tend to have a darkened intellect, whereby having the ability to make right, moral, and ethically sound choices is diminished. And that is actually a Christian terminology. When I use that term darkened intellect, that comes straight out of traditional Christianity and the teachings of the church fathers. Okay, so in conclusion, let's take a look at this graphic here. Subjective versus objective. There are many words in the English language that sound very similar but have completely opposite meanings. One of the examples is the subjective versus objective pair, with only a couple of letters different. These two words are actually antonyms. So the meaning of subjective information is anything that is based on personal opinion, judgment, feelings, or point of view, right? And you know we have a lot of that going on in our society and our culture today in America. Now, the meaning of objective truth is objective information is factual and based on observations and measurements, right? Like natural law is objective truth. We can't get around natural law. So, for example, if someone is going to walk off of a tall cliff, they're going to get hurt because that is objective truth. So their bias and their personal opinion and their feelings and their points of view really don't matter in natural law because objective truth is going to meet you with the consequences of whatever your choices and your actions may be. Okay, so in conclusion, let's ask ourselves some of these questions. Are you interested in researching the concept of objective truth and its relevance today? Why is subjective thinking so prevalent in the U.S.? And how does objective truth relate to traditional Christianity? Very interesting, right? Okay, well, I hope you enjoyed that talk and hopefully it gave you a little taste of doing some additional research on objective truth and subjectivity and relativism. And this is the reference, of course, from my book. I want to thank you so much for raising your leadership competency skills and caring to do that for yourself and for the community that you live in and work in. And God bless you. Goodbye.